In this video, let's understand how to work with this ALV object model to generate your ALV reports. It is very simple actually. With very little effort, you can generate your ALV reports. So I'll copy this program which we did previously using the control framework. Let's see. ALV object model. And I'll remove this screen. We don't need to. If you want, you can also use your own screen for this. We'll do it without using our screen. So I'll comment this out, and we don't need this code, so I'll remove it. So I have this basic program where I have one subroutine to get the data, and I'll use this subroutine to call this ALV using the ALV object model. And we'll be using this local class again to handle the double click and PF status actions. So we'll get to that in a while. Now I have the data in my IT final. I want to show it in the output using this ALV object model. For that, all I have to do is, instead of creating this class, container class, I just need to define one reference object referring to this CLSALV table. This ALV object model has three types of displays. One is your regular two-dimensional grid or table. Other is your hierarchical sequential display where you can show one header record, and below that you can show multiple item records. And there is also a tree structure. So if you want to show some tree structure, you can also use that. So we'll use this table to display our ALV report in a table format. And once you have created this reference object, all you have to do is, if you look at this table class, properties, this instance generation is set to private. That means you cannot instantiate the objects referring to this class in your program. To instantiate those objects, they have provided one factory method. We have to call this factory method, which will return us the reference object. So this we call singleton design pattern, where they want to ensure that only one instance exists for the ALV in your program. So if they allow you to instantiate in your program, then you can create multiple instances of this ALV in your program. So to ensure that only one instance exists, they have made this instance generation as private, so that if you use a create object statement in your program, it will give an error saying that this cannot be instantiated. However, they have used this factory method, where we call this factory method pass our object, and it will basically export the reference object when you call this method. And in this method, they have written the code to instantiate the object. So you'll find this create object statement in this method. And what that will do is, if the instance already exists in your program for this ALV, it will return you a reference to that instance. If the instance doesn't exist, that means the first time you are trying to instantiate, then it will instantiate the object and send you the reference of that object. So to instantiate this in this show output, I'll call that a static method, factory method. So I'll say class is CLSALV table, and the method is factory. And to this, if you are using your own screen and container, then you can pass those details. We are not using it, so I'll ignore it. All I have to do is, I have to pass my reference object, which I want to instantiate, and then the internal table that has the data. So you don't need to do anything else. You just define one reference object referring to this CLSALV table and call this factory method, pass the name of that reference object. So once this method is called, you'll have this reference object instantiated, and we pass this internal table which has the data. And after that, all I have to do is call this display method to display the ALV output. So I'll call this display method, and that's it. So you don't need to pass your structure name or anything like that, because this ALV itself will use your internal table to identify what all the columns you are printing in the output and accordingly generate the column headings and everything. So you don't need to do anything else. So just call this factory method, pass the reference object and the internal table that has the data, and then call this display method, and you have your ALV. So this is my ALV output. But if you see, there is no GUI status and all these things. So if you want to set your GUI status for this ALV, if you look at this class again, I'll open it in a new screen. CLSALV table. It has various methods. One of the methods is set screen status. So I have to call this method, and it has 3 parameters. So I should pass my program name, the PF status, and if I'm using the standard PF status, I can also pass one value to identify whether I want to show all the options or limited options or none of the options. So if you see, this is the default value is none, so it doesn't display any buttons, and there are few more options. For example, if you look at the attributes, set functions, so we have this constants, functions none, functions default, C functions all. So we'll pass this C functions all for that. Basically it's a constant and it has this 2 as the value, so you can either pass 0, 1 or 2. If you pass 0, it won't display any buttons. If you pass 1, it will show limited buttons. If you pass 2, it will show all the buttons. So we'll be calling this method set screen status. So before calling this display method, I'll call that set screen status. ALV is my this, then set screen status. To this method, we'll pass our program name, and I'll pass this standard full screen which we copied previously. So when I copied this program, it has actually copied this PF status also. So I already have it, I don't have to create it again. And to this we'll pass ALV. Basically this is a constant I'm using, it's an attribute. So I'll pass all to display all those buttons that are there in this PF status. So once you do that and execute, you have your PF status, and this PDF also we've added, so it is showing here. And when you click on this, nothing happens. Even if you double click, nothing happens. So to handle these actions, we again have to implement this event handler methods. So if you actually look at this SALV table class, in this there is a method get event, and this method has one parameter which is referred to this class CLSALV events table. And if I go to this class, it has this events. One is double click, so if you want to handle double click, you can catch this event. And this class has one super class, so this is actually a subclass of CLSALV events class. So if you look at this super class, in this it has this event added function. So we have to catch this event to handle your function codes, and this event has one parameter ESLAV function. So whenever you select any button, this field will have that function code. So we'll implement this. So what I'll do is, the name of this event is added function. I'll be using this alias added function from this class. So I'll create one reference object, or I'll basically implement one event handler method for this events added function as well as this double click. So this double click, and the class is this. So with this information, I'll go back, and this local class will be using the same local class, but now this method will be for event double click of this class. And if you look at this double click method, this double click method has row and column as the two parameters. So instead of this, I'll say row and column. And here, instead of checking for row, we'll check for row. So this double click is maintained for this event double click of this class. And similarly, I'll also create one methods, let's say handle functions for event added functions of this class. Since this is a subclass, it will have all the events of the superclass, so I don't have to refer it to the superclass. And I'll quickly check the parameter. So this added function has this parameter. So the method event is added function of this class importing this, and I'll implement this method also here. Method handle functions end function end method, and here if I say if this e underscore salv function equals to PDF, then you write your logic. Before calling this display method, before you generate the ALV, what we have to do is we have to call that method. Let's say I'll define one for handling these events. I'll say data LR underscore events type reference to this class, and when I call this method LR underscore events equals to ALV get event, it's event or events. So in this, there is this get event method. We are calling this method, so it will return the events reference. So it will instantiate this events object, and I'll have to set the handler. So I'll say data LO underscore event handler type reference to my local class LCL event handler. I'll instantiate it, create object LO event handler, and then I'll say set handler LO event handler double click. The method is catch double click for this reference object, because this will have the events. Similarly, I'll set the handler for LO underscore event handler handle functions for this class LR events. So I'm basically setting the handler for both double click as well as to handle our GUI functions. So this catch double click will be triggered when you double click, and this method handle functions will be triggered when you select any of the GUI status buttons. So what I've done is we have created one local class. In that we have maintained two event handler methods, one for this double click event, and one for this added function event of this class. And when I'm calling this ALV get event method, it will return a reference to the events that are raised by that ALV, and I'm setting a handler for those events. So now if I keep a breakpoint on this method, catch double click as well as handle functions, if I execute, so if I click on this PDF button, for example, it will call this method and you'll have this function code passed to this ESALV function. So you can write your logic accordingly. And if I double click, it will call this method, catch double click, and you have this row and column which will tell you which row and column the user double clicked. So row is 4 and column is MATNAR. So like that you can identify. So this is your ALV object model. If you want just a simple ALV output, it's very straightforward. You just have to call this factory method, pass your ALV reference object and the internal table that has the data, and then call this display method. It will display the output. But if you want to handle this GUI status or double clicks, then you have to define these event handler methods and then accordingly handle them. Okay, so just practice. When you look at the video, you may find it a bit confusing with so many things happening, but just write this program on your own and define those local methods and handle the events, then you'll be very comfortable. Okay, so whenever you're handling events, two things you have to do. You have to first define an event handler method with this syntax. So when you're defining the method, you say for event, the event of the class, and if that event has any exporting parameters, then you should import them, and then you have to set the handler for that event. Only then that event will be called. Okay, so that's about this ALV object model. Again, this ALV object model and the ALV grid control, all these are well documented. So if you want to have some additional functionalities, for example, if you want to set the column headings, or if you want to change the order of the columns, then again you have to get a reference to the columns instance and then accordingly modify those headings using the setter and getter methods. It's all about using those setter and getter methods to work your way around. So there's a lot of documentation available online. So search online and you'll get plenty of help with this. So you just have to identify which class you have to call or which method you have to call to achieve certain functionality. And the beauty of these classes is that the person who's developing the class will put a lot of effort to develop this class, but as a developer who's calling these classes, you just have to write few lines of code to achieve a lot of functionality, right? So even here, if you see, to call the ALV, I'm writing 2 lines of code, and to set the PF status, again I'm calling one method passing certain parameters, right? And to handle these events, I'm just calling one method to get a reference to the events and then setting my handler. So using these classes itself is very easy. So with 2-3 lines of code, you can achieve a lot of things. But the person who has developed these classes must have put a lot of effort in developing it, right? That's what I said when I was talking about this object-oriented programming. There are 2 stages you'll be involved. One is, as a junior developer, you'll be mostly limited to understanding the existing classes and understanding how to use them in your programs. So you'll be more worried about that part where you just need to figure out how to use these classes in your program, which method you should call for what. And there's another stage where once you gain more experience, once you're more comfortable with the designing, such as once you become a solution architect, then you'll be spending a lot of your time in designing these classes. So that's a more challenging work. So at that time, you need to know much more about object-oriented programming. Just to understand these classes, how to use them in your program, the basic knowledge about object-oriented programming is sufficient. Okay, so that's about ALV object model, and this concludes our discussion on ALV. See you in the next section.